two things are going to come out of this podcast. One, we're going to be canceled, and two, we're probably going to get divorced from our wives.
So fucking inappropriate. So fucking inappropriate.
It's like crying, just jerking into an empty hole. Jerking into an empty hole. Jerking into an empty hole.
So fucking inappropriate.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's time again for that top 10 list you don't give a fuck about by two guys you really don't give a fuck about.
All right, this week we are doing the top 10 video games of all time. I prefaced it to Matthew when I thought of the topic of 10 games that if it's the only 10 you could ever play again. He changed it to what? How did you preface it last time? Or how did you word it?
Oh, if it's the only 10 games you can play for the rest of your life, what would they be?
Okay, so only 10 games you can play for the rest of your life, what would they be? Caveat to that, a lot of my games are multiplayer. So we're going to pretend like...
It's going to be a lonely-ass lobby.
We're going to pretend like there are other people that are also playing these games. But
I'm fine, because me and all 917 personalities locked in my head are going to have a great time, okay? Like, I'm going to have full queued lobbies for a week.
Well, go ahead and give us your number 10 then.
And yeah, this is going to be part of one of my weird personalities coming out. But just, I don't have a lot of stressful games because in my opinion, if you're going to play games, you need to have games for every occasion. As far as, for me, I have games for all of my moods. So I play a lot of different weird-ass games. I will go from playing a horror game to, pressure washer simulator in 20 minutes. Why the fuck? Don't ask. It's not your deal. It's mine. So my number 10 goes into that vein of realm, but it's Rock Band. I put hours on that damn game when it first came out. And it was one of those sit back, didn't have to think too hard, but you still had fun playing it, you know. Yeah, it don't matter to me because that's something I can do solo, and it's my 10 games that I'm playing when no one else is in the room, and it's what I'm doing for the rest of my time. So, I guess suck it. I don't know. Fuck it.
I like Rock Band. Rock Band was good.
Rock Band was so much fun, man.
That's the one where there's... like, you got the guitar here, was just a guitar, but Rock
Right,
Band
you had the guitar, the microphone, you had the bass, and you had the drum set. So, for, like, replayability, you can master all of them, and then if you're like me, try to sing, which ends up being, off-pitch shit. But, it is what it is. I mean, it's still fun.
And you could do all three at the same time?
No.
Like, that wasn't an option, or you couldn't do that? That's what I was asking.
I personally couldn't do all three at the same time.
But is it an option? Like, can you have
You need three people, because how are you going to play the drums and the guitar and sing? I guess you could do the drums and sing if you have a mic stand. That's what I was
asking, is if you had more people to play.
Oh, not normally, no. I was like one of the only people in my friend group that actually, I mean, if we threw like a party and you had a bunch of people over, then yeah, you would get people to play it because it was like more of a party game. I think I'm the only one that would sit at home for like 4 hours beating those drums and shit, like probably, but
All right. Was that the only thing you were sitting at home 4 hours beating?
Oh, God, no. Fuck no. It wasn't the Bonnie Rotten either.
If you don't understand that, listen to the last episode, guys. All right.
I was much bigger into midget bondage porn. I'm not even going to lie. I just, something about Bridget.
Bridget? What is Bridget?
Bridget the midget. She's a porn star.
Oh, okay. Jesus. All right. Well, we're going to have to do our top 10.
You're not that short. It shouldn't have went over your head, man.
We're going to have to do the top 10 favorite porn stars.
Top 10 favorite porn stars. I'm oddly enough there for that shit. I don't know why. I am.
Okay. Well, my number 10 for video game. Okay. By the way, so my last list was not in order. This is going to be in order. And with a little cheap plug here, I used to do a podcast with my brother, and we did top 10 video games on that. So if you want to listen to that, it's two brothers in a review. You're going to hear the same thing from me, but you can get my brother's opinion also. But we're here for the Inappropriates. So my number 10 is Call of Duty World at War.
Yeah, he said duty.
Now, I could have just put Call of Duty, but all of mine I have if I have like
how many Call of Duties are on your list?
Well, I only have one. That's what I'm That's what I'm getting to, Dick. All right.
My number 9 is Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Yes. My number 8 is Call of Duty. God damn.
I only chose one Call of Duty, and I chose my favorite, which is from 2008 on the PS3. I don't know if you listed what year or
I did not list the year.
Okay, I've got that for each one of mine.
Of course you did.
But that's okay.
Whatever. You got to outdo everything.
Again, I did this before, so I was kind of already prepped. But if you're a Call of Duty fan in general, you're like, why the fuck did he pick that old of a game? Because it is an older one from 2008, like I said.
Because that's when they were still good.
Yeah, me and you can.
Now you're just.
That, but
I'm sorry. I feel like Call of Duty is a lot like the 2K games now. You're buying the same game with reskins. Is what it feels like to me.
Yeah, it's.
So
I haven't played Call of Duty for a minute, and higher up on my list, I'll give a reason why. But from what I know, you basically what you're saying is correct. But World at War to me was fun because I'm a camper. I don't know if do you play first-person shooters or anything? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you play
Actually, first person is I get my number 1 spot. So.
Okay, and you play multiplayer or you play the campaign and stuff?
Both.
Okay, so Call of Duty, World at War, the campaign was good. I liked that. But World at War specifically, I played multiplayer when I was in Afghanistan with my buddies. When we weren't actually out shooting people, we went back to our tent and we were shooting each other. So
didn't get enough killing during the 9 to 5, so we're gonna go back and digitally fuck some people.
Pretty much. But World at War was the one that we played, so it has a soft spot in my heart. But also the maps. The maps are what, in my opinion, make multiplayer first-person shooters. Mm-hmm. Is if you have good maps. And World at War had a couple of my favorite maps of all time, and specifically for me being a camper and sitting up in a tower sniping.
So you're the one that pissed everybody off all the fucking time.
Pretty fucking much.
Okay, I got it, yeah.
Number 10, Call of Duty World at War.
All right, okay. I mean, at least it's in your number 10 spot. I mean, personally for me, I don't play Call of Duty anymore. Okay. I understand the reason people like it. For me, it just fell so hard to the side for me so fast. Number 9 for me is one that I have spent literally hours in. The replayability is fun because of the different ways you can play the game. For me, it's the original Dead Rising. For those of you who don't know Dead Rising, you're a reporter in a mall, and there's a zombie invasion, and you have to build weapons based on things around the mall. You had the ability to walk across the heads of big crowds. If you kept moving, they weren't going to get you too bad. But it's so much fun. Zombie clowns, zombie hordes. You had X amount of time to find what you had to need to get out, but you always had the ability to build super cool different weapons. And there's something about riding around a mall on a motorized tricycle with 2 chainsaws taped to a hockey stick. That's just a good time, people. I'm just saying. So number 9 is Dead Rising.
Dead Rising. What was your 10?
My 10 was Rock Band.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I felt like I skipped over you. I'm sorry. All right. So my number 9 is kind of zombie related, and it is the 1998 version, Resident Evil 2. Specifically the second one. I have countless hours playing this game, and I don't even know if I ever beat it. But
that hurts.
Yeah.
Maybe I did. Huge Resident Evil fan. That hurts.
Maybe I did. I just played it so much. I'm like, did I ever beat it?
It double hurts. It's so far down on your list.
Oh, I got you. All right. Well, it's on there though.
Resident Evil 2 was iconic. That's where one of my favorite Resident Evil characters came into the franchise. That was in Resident Evil 2, honestly. In fact, Resident Evil is farther up on my list with that character in it, just not 2. But yeah, dude, Resident Evil. If you even have a top 10 list of video games and Capcom doesn't make at least one appearance on that list, in my opinion, there's a problem.
Agreed.
For me, they make several appearances on that list. But yeah, man, Resident Evil, I had the director's cut of the very first Resident Evil for PlayStation 1. And I've played every single Resident Evil except for the final one they just released. But I've played every one all the way through.
You watch the movies too?
I have seen and probably own every damn movie they put out, even though I don't care. I don't like the original movies they ran through. Welcome to Raccoon City was probably one of the better ones in my opinion.
That's what I was getting at. Have you seen that one?
Yes. But for me, the animated ones they put out, the CGI ones, were probably the better Resident Evil films for me.
Okay.
They were a little more closer to canon, a little more closer to storyline. even though Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City was kind of 1 and 2 crammed together.
Yeah.
But as a fan of the franchise, it got so much closer to what we played and what we knew than the Mila, Jovovich run of Resident Evil 1 through 9, or however that ran.
Yeah.
But,
There's one specific thing that I remember in the game. I don't know why, but going into the warehouse, or you're already in the warehouse maybe, but you're in the dark hallway where there's boarded up windows to your left. And then as you walk down that hallway, a big fucking monster comes out. I don't know why I vividly remember that specific fucking thing. But
they start jumping through the windows at that point. Yeah.
That was a good game.
Yeah. Great jump scares for that. All right, so my number 8, I'm going back into the music genre. And it's the last time I'm going into the music genre because I still play this game to this day. It's so much fun. Me and my kids sit and play it. It's Beat Saber. If you
on Oculus?
On VR, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, not Oculus. It's on PlayStation VR as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, man. Cutting blocks down to a beat with lightsabers is just mindless fun, in my opinion. It's not something I play all the time, but it's still so much fun.
Yeah.
It's something I can play with my kids, and we still have a lot of fun doing it here and there. But yeah, if I had to just chill back, didn't want to get into a horror scenario, didn't really want to get into the frustration of first-person shooters, these are the games that I settle back on and kind of run with. And I realize right now you don't see a lot of what I play on a regular, normal basis, but I do play a lot more in-depth style games.
I don't have any VR stuff on my list.
So
that's
yeah, like if I had to set down for a top 10 of games I could only ever play again, it's kind of coming down to replayability for me.
Well,
what can I replay and still have a lot of fun at, for a long period of time. And I mean, honestly, that's what you want. You want the money you want your money's worth out of what you're paying for these games because they're not cheap anymore.
Yeah.
So
I like it. I've never played it on you said PlayStation VR?
Yeah.
I've never played on that. I just played on Oculus. I honestly didn't even know it was on anything besides Oculus. So, but I'm sure it's the same exact game. It's
pretty much all of our gaming equipment in my house is made by Sony at this point.
All right.
So I still have an original Xbox, and it still runs, people.
Well, another Sony game tops my list at number 8. It's 2000's PlayStation Grind Session. It was a skateboarding game.
Oh, wow. Not Tony Hawk?
Right. Okay. So that's funny.
Wow. Okay.
When I did this with my brother, he also had the same response. Oh, wow. You didn't go with the more popular Tony Hawk. Yes, the Tony Hawk Pro Skater or whatever, those were fun. I had those. I still played them. Especially being able to build skate parks was really cool in that game. But Grind Session specifically, me and my other brother, who's an actual skateboarder, played this so fucking much as kids. Like, I didn't know anything about skateboarding. This game taught me. Like, I couldn't skateboard, obviously, but I knew the moves. Like, I knew what grinding meant and ollies and just all the basics, but then also more elaborate things. And also, it grew my love for this skater named Daewon Song. He's in the game, and I was like, man, this guy's really fucking cool. I started following him. I still follow him to this day. And a couple years ago, he auctioned off, he was selling one of 100 signed skateboards that he customized or whatever, and I bought one of those.
Oh,
so
wow.
I have that. But then earlier this year, my wife found Grind Session, mint condition, complete, booklet and everything. She bought that off eBay for me. I'm going to have, I want to send that in and have it graded. And it'll be my first graded video game, and I'm going to have that hung next to the skateboard.
Oh, nice.
So, Grind Session is just nostalgia. And like I said, just for whatever reason, I played that more than I did Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk was fun, but Grind Session was my shit. So
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have a couple of obscure. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna be like, what and who and when, but there is something to be said for nostalgia that comes back, man. Because I have a very nostalgia pick on here, and it's nostalgia to me for a couple different reasons. And they actually just released the 20th anniversary remaster of the game that I got. But yeah, there's nostalgia that actually plays a huge role in games and things that you do with that. Absolutely. So number 7 is an older PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 run era games of Blood Rain. Blood Rain was a
Reighn? Is that how you spell it?
Rayane.
Oh, okay.
Blood Rain.
I was thinking I knew what you were talking about, but I obviously don't.
So Blood Rain got one of those little B-grade movie spinoffs by Uwe It had two games. They just remastered both of those games not long ago. But Blood Rain was one of those games where you played as a female vampire, and there were no health pickups in the games. You had to feed off your enemies to restore your health, and you could grab an enemy and use them as a shield. You could feed off them and turn them and use them as a shield, which obviously made you getting less health because they were shooting the person you were feeding off of. And you were like fighting through different scenarios, but you were also going through a World War II era, so you were basically fighting and killing Nazis at the same time that were trying to do experiments and everything else. It was one of those really fun third-person hack and slasher games that, for me, had a lot of replayability to it because it was just fun. It was one of the first games you could disarm somebody, take their weapon, and use it against them if you wanted to. It was there, she had the two long blades that swung out from her arms that she could use to fight as well. But it just really fun game, man. And the second one was good, but the first one was the one that really trapped me. So I always go back to that first experience, and they came up on PlayStation. They called them Revamped, which is remastered. Yeah. And I ended up picking both of those up, but it's still just fun. I still open that game up and still spend an hour or two in it, just going back and having fun with it. So
interesting. I haven't heard of that one. I'm gonna have to look that one up now. Marry, fuck, kill time. All right, let's see. So, marry, fuck, kill your... No, I'm not ready for that one yet. Pam, we'll go lower tier for right now. Pamela Anderson, Yasmin Belief. You know who Yasmin Belief is?
I do not.
She's not a Baby Watch girl, but I'll choose somebody different.
So, small waist, big tits.
Pam Anderson, Jenny McCarthy.
Okay.
Tyra Banks. Or
no, going through the options.
Okay. Because me personally, I masturbated these three so many times when I was a kid.
Tyra is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Like, yeah. Jenny's got that whole anti-vaccine weird fucking phase. She's, yeah.
Okay, so we'll go with 90s. These women when they're in the 90s.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah.
That makes it even worse because now Pam Anderson's got hep.
It's post Tommy Lee too.
Yeah, we're killing Pam.
Okay.
Nothing against Pam. I have the Playboy passion of the Pam. I mean, what the fuck? But based off the other two options, Pam's got to go. That's just where it is in my opinion. I'm railing the shit out of Jenny McCarthy. I mean, she's beautiful now, but she was stunningly gorgeous then. And as far as who's aged well over time, I mean, Tyra's still got it, man. Like, really? In my opinion, yeah, Tyra's still got it, in my opinion.
I haven't seen her recently.
And she was a model. There's not really any way to go wrong. In the '90s, she was at ooh. Yeah, so I guess we'll marry Tyra.
I'm with you. I don't want hep A, B, C, D, any of those heps. So we'll just go ahead and...
Pamela's going to have a brand new one called hepatitis P.
Yeah, probably. So we're going to off Pam, and then I'll masturbate on her dead carcass. Anyways, I'm going to...
That was interesting.
I am going to...
Won't commit necrophilia, but we'll put a little seed on it before we throw it in the ground. Maybe it'll grow back.
I gotta pay homage from my childhood, okay? Anyways, I'm going...
You're standing at the gravesite crying, just jerking into an empty hole. Like, what the fuck? Oh, sorry.
I'm going to fuck Tyra because I feel like she's too high maintenance to marry. And I'm going to marry Jim McCarthy because I have seen her as of late, and I think she still holds up.
Oh, she still holds up.
Plus, she's needs to be freed from the New Kids on the Block guy.
Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah. So I am going to marry Jenny, fuck Tyra, and kill Pamela Anderson. All right. What number are we on? We're on number 7, right?
Yeah, you're giving number 7. Yeah.
You keep mentioning playability. This game to me has a ridiculous amount of playability because it came out in 2008 for PS3. It was probably on other systems too, but I had it for PS3. It's a racing game, but it's not like any other racing game. Burnout Paradise. Okay. Well, the reason I say that it has a ridiculous amount of playability is because when I switched over to Xbox One, and all that, I then was one of the first games. I was like, all right, I got to have Paradise City because I'll just randomly be in the mood for getting in a fucking racing game and driving around and doing whatever, and that's exactly what that is. You can do Marked Man, you can do rampages where you're just wrecking cars. You can actually race, or you can just fucking drive around the city, and you can do it whenever you want. So
the Burnout franchise, out of all the racing games, is probably one of my favorites. So without, and I have Paradise City or Paradise, and I agree with it. It's a great game.
yeah. Plus the iconic Paradise City.
There's, I think one game before that was probably my all-time favorite, though. I don't remember what it was called. There was a mode just to see how high of a money tick-off you could get for causing wrecks.
No, they still have it on there. You mash the bumpers, and you'll start flipping your car, and you'll wreck other vehicles, and you keep going until you don't wreck anymore.
Right.
That's on that one.
There was one mode that it was just strictly a money. You got graded on how much money the accident ticked up.
That's
I
what
don't.
it is.
Was it on Paradise?
Yeah, it's on. That's what I'm
I'm gonna
saying.
have to relook
you
at it
mash
because-
the bumpers, and it starts your car into a roll.
Right.
And you
know,
buses are multipliers, like 5 multipliers.
Oh yeah.
It's
And if you hit the tanker truck, dear God, you're going, man. That's awesome. You
can be in the middle of a race, and you're like,
Man,
fuck it, bumpers. I love it.
That's almost sad, man. Like, the racing game didn't even make my list, but now that you're talking about it, well, no, that's not true. There is a car game that didn't make my list, but not a technical racing game. Yeah, dude, Burnout. I kind of forgot about that whole series, man. That was a really cool series, man. I did have a lot of fun in that game. So, number 6 though for me, actually there it is. There's the car game. There's almost no bad game in this series. I take that back. There's a couple. But this series, in my opinion, has been iconic. They just turned it into a TV show. I'm there for the TV show. I've seen the entire first season probably 3 times of this TV show. No, it doesn't follow the canon of the game, but because of what the game is, it can't follow the canon of the game. But I love the show nonetheless. And what I'm talking about is Twisted Metal Black.
That's not a racing game.
It's a car game, and
Okay.
technically it could be a racing game, depending. You're just not going anywhere. And until you have outraced a homing missile, I don't know what it's telling you right now.
Okay, fair enough.
Out of that franchise, Black was my favorite. There was a little bit darker, sinister feeling to that. There was a lot of hidden areas you could get to. There was a lot of characters to unlock. There was a lot of different strategies you could take into that game. I mean, a couple games prior, you had the entire Twisted Metal franchise game that had Rob Zombie doing the entire soundtrack. That's iconic in my opinion. But Black is the one that kind of settled it in for me. I loved Black. I probably put the most amount of hours on Black, and it just gave me a lot of enjoyment on that. Twisted Metal Black is where it was at for me. It had the most sinister stories to it. Some of the most gruesome stories in that franchise came from that. So, absolutely, man, go fight Calypso and go get some carnage.
I knew where you were going with that when you started saying like the TV series. And I'm also on board. I love it. Samoa Joe is amazing as Sweet Tooth, so I'm looking forward to season 2.
And honestly, let's face it. Anthony Mackie's phenomenal in this. As playing John Doe.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Anthony Mackie's becoming one of those actors. I'll watch anything he does. He's very solid in what he does. Yeah. Samoa Joe, great. Will Arnett's voice over Samoa Joe's a little different, but I'm there for it. Like, they both work together and create a really cool character, man. And I can't wait to see what happens next in the show.
I'm in agreement. But I was, like I said, I knew where you were going, but I'm like, this isn't a racing game. So I'm glad you said car game. Gotcha.
Yeah, okay. Car game.
All right. My number 6 has also had movies made about it. and very like several different versions of the game. But I'm gonna strictly go with the very first one, and that's 2008's Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I wish it was a good movie made off of it though.
I didn't mind the movie. I'm also. It's hard for me to really something I already like. It's hard for me to start disliking like movies and that. So I'm probably not a good proponent for arguing that it's not a good movie.
It's the worst part about turning any video game into a movie, because there's so many different things about a video game that's iconic to different people, and there's absolutely no way for a director to put all that stuff into a film.
Right.
So somebody's going to have something left out, which I think is kind of why I love Twisted Metal so much, because yes, you know it's in that universe. Yes, you see some of those iconic cars, but they're not. The game isn't to a point of, oh, that's not how the missiles hit that car. Dude, that's how the missiles hit any car, just depending on what scenario you're in. There's a little bit more flexibility for something like that, whereas with Assassin's Creed, man, you're really held to a tight story that somebody plays through in like 300 hours that you're trying to cram into a 2-hour film, which obviously there's a lot of things you can cut out, but no matter what you cut out, you're going to piss someone off.
Right.
And I liked what they did with it, especially the movie on it, but I think they probably cut a little too much in my opinion. But then again, someone else might say it was perfect, you know.
Yeah.
The games are solid though. The games actually are solid. I did play the first, I think I played the first 3.
Okay. It's another one of those games where there's a mission, like you're supposed to do a certain thing, but you don't have to. You can literally just run around and jump off rooftops if that's all you want to do.
It reminded me a lot of the old Hitman.
Oh, God, yes.
There's a lot of different ways you can tackle a mission, but it's completely up to you with how you do it. And I like games like that. For some reason, I just fell out of continuing. I did come back to play Black Flag.
Okay.
Which
I
thought
still
that
haven't
was...
played. I've been told to play it, and I still haven't played it yet.
Oh, dude, Black Flag. It's not as in-depth as... And that's where it gets... It's, I guess, people saying it's not a great game. Was it as in-depth as all the other games? No. For the love of God, no. I mean, it kind of had a little bit of a wackier side to it. No, I should not be able to jump off my ship, swim 7 miles, and climb aboard a frigate, and if my sword skills are that high, kill everyone on it and just take the ship. But on the same playing field, I really like jumping off my ship, swimming 7 miles, climbing aboard a frigate with high skill level on my swords, and killing everyone on board and taking the ship, right? There is... I don't take it as seriously as other people took that game. It was just a lot of fun to play. You know, it didn't make my list, but I do like, the Assassin's franchise. There's a lot of hours to sink into that franchise, man. A lot of good enjoyment on that. So, number 5 for me is going to go into, I guess, kind of another setback and just enjoy game run. But for me, it was the original Tekken Tag Tournament.
Cool.
It was that first game that allowed you to pull those characters back and forth and kind of play off the strengths, and you could actually like do combo moves as they were coming in and out. And as far as fighting games go, I've been a Tekken guy since pretty much day one. I've had every Tekken game that they put out. I love it. I played it competitively for a while. To me, there's just nothing simpler than sitting back and just smacking the shit out of somebody. You know, there was a lot. Not all the Tekken games were great, but in my opinion, the one that really had the most amount of enjoyability in it for me was the original Tekken Tag Tournament. There was the mini games in it. You had the ability to go back and forth. There was the competition mode in it. There was just a lot that opened up in that realm of fighting games. And I know we were going to say Mortal Kombat's better, Street Fighter's better. They've been around longer. I get it. For me, though, it fell into the Tekken era. That's the one that clicked the most for me. There's strong communities in every fighting genre. And, you know, at this point, I'm not going to say can we all get along, because it's a fighting genre. Fuck it. You know, it is what it is. So, but yeah, that was my number 5. That one hit right dead center for me.
Tekken is of no form is on my list, but I did play them, and I agree with you. Tekken, the first Tekken Tag, was probably the best, or at least the most fun. You mentioned Hitman, and this game is similar to Hitman. My number 5, it's 2003, played on PS2. It's a game called Manhunt. Okay, so it got banned in several countries. I don't think it ever got banned in the U.S., but it got banned in several countries. You literally go around. You're a serial killer, and you take various different weapons.
Oh yeah.
Chainsaw, whatever it is. The graphics weren't great. I would love for it to be remade right now.
I don't think that ever happened.
Won't happen. But if it did, it would probably move way up my list because the concept of this game is why it's on my list.
Yeah.
Not because of the graphics or any of that, because it wasn't that great.
Because that's the one where you have varying degrees of deaths. Like
yes.
You had the quick death, the kind of intermediate, and then the actual gruesome death on that, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Because I ended up playing that oddly enough on Wii, and it was only Manhunter 2. Because they actually released it on Wii and then they pulled it, but I had the physical copy. Not as good as the original Manhunter. I was at a buddy's house, or Manhunt, sorry. I was at a buddy's house and he played a lot of it. I remember watching a lot of it. I played a little bit of it. Then I started out in like a prison or something. Aren't you in a prison trying to escape?
Maybe I
don't remember.
Or you break into.
Maybe you were going in or
something.
I don't know. But yeah, I remember.
I just remember you kill people in very graphic.
Yeah.
Different brutal ways, and that's right up my fucking alley. Maybe I'm a serial killer and I don't realize it yet, but yeah, that's about a different way to relieve yourself. If you just I had a bad day, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna hop on a fucking video game and kill some motherfuckers. That's the one I would choose.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. So number 4 is what I'm talking about when it hits nostalgia. It hits kind of the roots. This game, when it originally came out. When PlayStation came out with their PlayStation Plus membership in the very, very beginning, and they started offering, free games every couple months or every month for, the paying for it and the server use and making sure the server stayed smooth. This game I picked up free one month, and my daughter, when she was, still able to sit on my lap and we would sit there and game and have fun. This game we played start to finish.
Was it Manhunt?
And no, it was not Manhunt. It was a lot of fun. I actually had fun playing the game. She had fun sitting there on my lap watching everything happen. And most people, when I say the name of this, are not going to get it, but they just released the 20th anniversary remaster of this, but they kept everything original in the game. The original dialogue, the original layout, everything's original. The game's called Beyond Good and Evil. And it's just kind of one of those space kind of orphan being raised by a space alien warthog, and there's a federation that's oppressing everybody, so you're sneaking around and grabbing. It's kind of one of those more dumbed down versions of an RPG, but you still have the fighting option, the sneaking option. You're getting parts and you're building ships and you're going places, and it ended up being a lot of fun. You get on a water world, so you're driving boats around and through canals, almost like a alien version of Venice. And it was kind of one of those games that me and my daughter just sat there and we would veg out to for hours at night, and we had a lot of fun, a lot of memories of her sitting on my lap. And the funny part is I told her, when it came out, I said, hey, they just released Beyond Good and Evil, 20-year anniversary for this, and she went, that was little Chloe's favorite game, so when are we going to play? And that kind of just, as a dad, kind of hits you in the feels a little bit, but yeah, that's always going to have a simple yet important place in my heart, just because of that whole scenario. And that's one that I can play over and over and over again. Of course, that's one I obviously picked up as soon as possible. But yeah, that's definitely going to have a much closer meaning for me than a lot of people. But if you're looking for a really chill game, man, check it out. It actually was a really, really fun chill game to play.
Beyond Good and Evil?
Beyond Good and Evil.
Oh. Mm-hmm. And what did you play it on? PlayStation?
Yeah, it was played on PlayStation. I think it originally came out on the 2. It was re-released free on the 3. And I now have it remastered 20th year anniversary on the 5. So...
not another one that I'm not familiar with, but it does sound pretty interesting, so I might have to check it out. But before I check it out, I'm going to ask you a Marry, Fuck, Kill again. And now we're going to get a little bit more appropriate. This is one that I started to ask you when we were doing your headshots, which, if you didn't know, Matthew is a comedian, and just recently he had some headshots that he needed to be taken for Bricky's Comedy Club. Shout out Bricky's.
I mean, we're talking about photographs, not the other headshots you see at night.
Or are we?
Weird. I mean,
But anyways,
$20 is $20, no matter what alley you make it in. So
for one of those headshots, I wanted to get a reaction photo. So I had to ask you a Marry Fuck Kill out of nowhere, but I never got to finish it. So we're going to finish it here. If you remember, the first option, and the only option I gave you, was the hottest celebrity that you know is corpse, but they come to life when you fuck them, and then they die again after you're done. So that's option number 1. Option number 2, the hottest celebrity you know, not corpse, but they're headless. And option number 3, the hottest celebrity you know, but her vagina is sewn shut. Marry, fuck, kill, go.
I'm gonna have to kill the headless one. That's weird.
No head for you.
No, because vagina being showed shut, I have head and ass at that point. So either way, it's gonna be fine. You know, and that I'll be fucking that. I'm marrying the corpse,
Okay.
and it's not because I like corpses. I'm just thinking about the long-term advantages. Mainly, they only come to life when you start, and they're dead when you're done. Which means I'm not getting bitched at to take out trash. I'm not being asked to bring home milk. There's no complaints if I left my shoes in the wrong spot. I'm not seeing a downside to this. I mean, other than I need a really big cooler. But
Deep freezer. Deep freezer works.
no, I don't.
You don't want to pull them out?
I don't want to plan like 4 hours in advance that I want to do that. Like, because if you freeze them, they gotta thaw out for you can start. Otherwise, I mean, you don't want frostbite, Dick. You don't want
So you're marrying the corpse.
Oh god, yeah. At that point, yeah.
You're fucking which one?
The one with the vagina slowed showed shut.
You're fucking the vagina.
Yeah, we're killing the headless one.
And
The headless one.
The headless. Okay, so
Yeah, the headless one is the one that throws me off the most. I can't get. Yeah, I'm not. Technically, that one is a corpse. I'm avoiding the necrophilia end of that because if they're still alive, walking around without a head, that says some weird shit.
well, there might be some weird shit being said. Because I'm gonna tell you why you're wrong. I'm going to just kill the corpse because then I'm not a murderer. It's already dead. I ain't gotta kill it. Plus, I don't know that I can get it up to something dead.
But you know it's coming away.
And I have to have some foreplay before, and with her you wouldn't get any foreplay. So I'm killing
That's why you have porn.
I'm killing maybe, I guess. But then I'm already doing it myself. Why do I need her? So
when you put it in, wake her up, she takes over. Whatever, dude. That's fine.
I'm killing the corpse. All right. I am going to fuck the vagina sewn shut because, like you said, you still got the ass, mouth, hands. If you're into that thing, feet. I don't know. Maybe you're into feet. Not my thing.
Not necessarily. I'm more of an armpit guy, but you know, it is what it is.
But I'm not going to marry that one because she still has a mouth and she can still tell me what to do. Therefore, I'm going to marry the headless one, and I can still get head. It'd just be referred to as neck.
Yeah, but then she's walking around, can't see shit. You're always cleaning up after it. It's like...
That's what I do now. What are you talking about?
With the corpse, you just...
I love you, Erica.
Just put it out of the fridge, you know?
All right, moving on back to the list.
Lay it by the fire for 5 minutes, and she wakes up like a romantic night in front of the fire, and you're done, and she goes back to sleep. It's kind of a win-win for me.
You say it that way. My number 4 top 10 video games. 2004's. This is another series. There's several versions of it, and this one's not probably the most popular, but to me, it's the one that has the most nostalgia for various different reasons. But GTA San Andreas. What's the ground for?
I never got into a GTA game,
Okay.
dude.
Well, it's similar to other games that I said because there's missions. Most of them are driving, whatever. If you're into that and doing the campaign, per se, you can do that. Or you can literally just put cheat codes in, have all the money, have all the weapons, jump out of helicopters, do whatever the fuck you want, run around killing people, try to get 5 stars, and then outrun the cops. Like, There's so many different things you can, and you can stop and get a tattoo and a haircut. So personally, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, out of the whole GTA series, I have nostalgia for that, and I love that one.
I get the popularity. It just wasn't a game I could put a lot of time in on. Like I've played a few of them. I've never finished a single one.
But what is finishing it?
Well, okay, I've never finished the campaign of any of them. Or, if you're going to go with either PlayStation or Xbox, if you get a platinum trophy or you get the final achievement, I would consider those games completed at that point.
Gotcha.
If you're a trophy hunter, I know there's people out there that have trophy hunted those games, and if you want a very challenging trophy hunt, those games are typically on that list, because there's so much just from the magnitude of what they do in them.
To me, it's just like video games are most of the time mindless relief. If I'm having a bad day, what else can I do if I want to take out some anger? Get on fucking game. Maybe I got pulled over for speeding. I wasn't speeding.
I get it.
I go home, I kill some cops. I'm right.
Yeah, I just was never. Yeah, I don't know. It never hit me the way it hit. Obviously millions of people out there because they keep making the games and they're wildly successful. It just those never hit home on my book for some reason. But number 3 for me is going to go right back to Capcom because this is where I think any game in this franchise should drop. But if I had to play one of these games over and over, as far as it was the only game out of this franchise that I could take, and it's going to be disagreed with by 100 people that love this franchise because everyone has their favorite game in this franchise. And the reason I play this because I have played this on every platform it's came out on except mobile. But it was Resident Evil 4.
Oh.
So I have played Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube. I have played it on PlayStation. Every PlayStation it's ever came out on. My favorite one to play it on was the Wii. I have completed it on 5. I have the remastered edition on 5. They had a mobile version. I did not play that. It was just god-awful, terrible. At one point in time, I think you could play Resident Evil 4 on my niece's Leap Pad. I mean, that game has been ported to more systems than Skyrim, and that's saying something because Skyrim has literally been remastered and re-put out on hundreds of systems. I actually went to a buddy's house who had a gaming computer, completed it on PC. They were not happy about the amount of time I spent at their house, but I did not buy a PC just to complete this game, but I did complete it on PC as well. It's the one game that I probably have in Resident Evil I probably have the most amount of hours in. It was a favorite of mine, and I realize it's not in the same realm as everyone else's. It is where the gameplay changed for Resident Evil. It is where the over-the-shoulder shooter style kind of took over. And I have a lot of respect for the former survival horror aspects before. Resident Evil 4 was the one that just hit me to the point I needed it. And that one's in my top 3 just because that's what sparked everything up till now for Resident Evil. And it's just... Leon was my character ever since Resident Evil 2.
Okay.
And I finally got that standalone, dedicated game to Leon, so I took it.
Fair. Okay. My number 3 harks back to one of the games you said, except for you said it later in the series. Twisted Metal 2 came out in 1996 for PlayStation. I liked Twisted Metal 1 also. I liked all the Twisted Metals. Well, 3 was kind of... But Black was very good. Like you said, it was more dark. But 2, I remember playing just ad nauseum, and my brother hated playing with me because I just beat him. Plus, I would use the cheat code to get Minion. The fucking Tesla truck before it became a thing. So
you ended up coming back as a boss in Black, actually. Yeah.
But I think the story started picking up as far as Calypso. Like if you beat the whole thing, I would go back and I would beat it with somebody different just so I could see whatever they wished for.
Yeah, all the different endings, right.
Yeah, I don't think they really did that in the first one. Maybe they did, but the second one I just vividly remember playing so much that I went through with every character, including the code ones to get so I could see the ending of the thing. Which, real quick, if you watch the whole season of Twisted Metal, obviously, the very end, it alludes to the next season, and it looks like it's going to be more like the style of the game. I wanted to say that earlier.
You started
when you said
seeing
it,
the brackets come in. It looks like you're going to find out Calypso, who Calypso is.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of Twisted Metal. If you wanted to get the whole story. You had to play it all the way through with every character, even those characters you didn't like.
Yep.
You were gonna like grind that out to see how that ended. You know, that's kind of genius.
Axel was the worst. Just throwing. That's the two big times.
Yeah, Axel was never fun.
What were you gonna say?
For me, it was Yellow Jacket. I hated playing Yellow Jacket. The Taxi.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, that game definitely made you play even characters you didn't like because you knew it was going to be messed up, but you had to know how messed up was it, right? So yeah, all right. So number 2 for this is the game that I can still pop in. I saw a physical copy of this today. You can't buy this game new anywhere anymore. The rights have been lost. They've never been picked up. And if you own a copy of it, you need to hang on to it because the only way to get copies is to buy used copies. And there's not a lot of people selling their used copies, and I'm not going to sell mine, so do not ask. But that is the Deadpool game.
Oh.
There was a game released, and it is probably the first glimpse of what you would see Ryan Reynolds of as Deadpool before he puts the suit on. It's just absolutely crammed full of dick jokes and blurred out lines and him slapping an unconscious Wolverine, and you see it's kind of like the best of Deadpool 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine because you have Bishop in it, you have a lot of the X-Men show up in it, you have Wolverine that comes into the game. Insane amounts of fun. I mean, if you can't play Deadpool in a tornado, jumping from platform to platform while dodging cows and making dick jokes, why are we playing video games, people? Let's be honest, right? Like, there's nothing funner than hitting the button to slap Wolverine over and over again while Deadpool's sitting there going, this is for not inviting me to prom. This is because you're a dick. This is because I love you. I mean, come on. It's just, it was just chock full of that humor. And to see Deadpool in a video game consistently, once again, breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
It's just too much fun. The whole Deadpool attitude that Ryan Reynolds carried into the films it's in this game. How much C4 do we use? I don't remember. What's the measure? Fuck it, just use it all. It was all there. It was great.
Are there any other games that the character breaks the fourth wall? Like, I know movies and TV, but what about games? Is there another one? I can't think of any. Because that's got to be wild. I haven't played that game.
There might be. I don't know.
I can't think of one.
That's something I would have to look at. But yeah, you're right. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, like at one point in a cutscene, he's calling the developer of the game.
I loved it.
Because it suddenly turns into a 2D game. It's like, what the fuck? You've blown all of our budget on explosions. Then get more money. Like,
that's amazing.
You're like Deadpool's website got 800 million views last week.
When did this come out?
It was mid-2000s, I think.
And you still have the original one you bought?
Still have the copy.
For what
absolutely.
system?
PlayStation 4.
Okay.
So.
Do you still have a PlayStation 4?
Yes. I still have a PlayStation 3,
plays?
PlayStation 4 that plays, and it plays on my 5 as well.
Oh.
Yes, I still have.
Awesome.
I will maintain the ability to play that game for as long as possible.
Sounds like a game.
Gonna have to come over, put some time in on a Deadpool game, bro.
Speaking of putting time in, okay, so my number 2 is a game you've heard me talk about. I got my brother addicted to this game to the point where he is trying to be a hardcore streamer. Shout out Kyle Chef Boy RC is his name. The C comes from the game, which is Sea of Thieves. 2018 Xbox One PC. It has recently been put on to PlayStation, so now it's open to all platforms. It's a game, I don't know if it's considered open world, sandbox, whatever it's called, but again, it's a game that you can get on there and you can do the stuff like can't necessarily camp. There's tall tales, so the tall tales are kind of like campaign, or you can just go look for other players and fuck them up, or tuck, which is like hiding on their ship and steal their stuff. Or if you just feel like being chill, you can cast out a rod and fish. Like, there's so many different things that you can do in this game. It's different experience every single time you log on to this game. Like I said, I got my brother addicted to it, and now my wife's addicted to it to the point where I only have 2 days off a week. She wants to play Sea of Thieves. So, Sea of Thieves is my number 2 game.
Nice. Yeah, I've looked into that. I haven't played it. I've watched some things that you've shown me on it, and I've actually went in and watched a few YouTube, I guess, stream clips of what people do on it. It seems like a pretty choose your own adventure kind of game, in my opinion.
Exactly.
You know, which is kind of cool. I kind of like that ability to that. You know, it's just I don't know. Every time I see Sea of Thieves, my mind literally goes back to Black Flag and how much fun.
Black what?
Black Flag.
Okay.
Not. I know what you think I said. No. Black Flag. Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and my mind automatically goes back to how much fun I had there, and I think mentally I'm going, is it even going to compare? And could it be better? Is it going to be worse? And I'm going to be pissed. And probably some of the reason I've held back off that, but it is on my list of games to one day, pull up and try.
In comparison to Black Flag, which I haven't played, but I know what it is, it's not realistic. It's definitely cartoonish. That's what I was resistant about it at first. I thought it was just a goofy cartoon game. But playing wise, it's whatever Black Flag is, it's better. I can tell you that.
Yeah. So, all right, one last one, real quick. Marry, Death, Kill, and we're gonna do this Resident Evil style.
Okay. All right.
Jill Valentine,
Which is
a Resident Evil character.
which one?
She's from.
I have terrible memory, man. I'm
She was
40
the
years
female
old, 2
character
deployments.
She was the female character from the first game.
Okay.
You only had
better.
2 to choose from.
Gotcha.
Jill was the one.
Red hair?
Yeah,
that
red,
later? Okay.
light brown, reddish brown hair.
Okay.
Yeah. Ada Wong from 4. She was also referred to as the bitch in the red dress.
I think I know. Continue.
And Claire Redfield.
Okay, I know that one.
I would hope so. It was on your list of games.
What is the Ada Wong?
Ada Wong.
Ada Wong. That one?
Yes.
Okay. So what was the first girl's name? Claire.
Jill
Ada,
Valentine.
Claire, and Jill. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, she is kind of hot. I was going to say I had to kill Ada because I don't know who it is, but
Dude.
okay, I'm gonna. This one's tough. Guys. I'm gonna kill Jill because
If you guys don't know, look the 3 characters up. But
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is a pretty popular franchise, so.
I'm going to kill Jill because originally I was going to say Ada Wong since I didn't know who she was, but as I looked her up, she's pretty fucking hot. So I'm going to kill Jill, probably after fucking her, and then I'm going to fuck Ada Wong many, many, many times, and then I will marry Claire. For nostalgia reasons. Again, Resident Evil 2 is on my list. So.
And honestly, mine flip a little bit just because of the same fucking reasons on that. But yeah, I'm killing off Jill. Nothing against Jill, but her brother's a douche. So, I'm good. And if you don't know what I'm referring to, go play 7. So I'm killing off Jill. I'm gonna go ahead and fuck Claire.
Okay.
Because, well, she was there with Leon in the beginning, and I'm not marrying her, but I'm going to throw her a bone. I'm marrying Ada, and that's weird because she is with the Umbrella organization, and then she's not. But I'm not going to try and kill an international super assassin.
That's valid also.
And I don't think she's going to let me. And she's not going to let me fuck her either. So if I marry her, I'm not fucking her married. She's fucking me because that's how it's probably going to happen. And as far as, she's going to know what she wants and I'm just along for the ride. Something about an Asian chick in a red dress that's that hot. I'm just going for it. I don't know.
But you like redheads.
Yeah, but I like Asians.
Okay. Asians over redheads.
I don't know. I mean, I've never been with either, so.
Oh.
Anyway, we're not going to go through my failed dating bucket list of non-girls I didn't get to before I got married. So.
Mine's Latin.
What?
Latina.
Latinos?
That's the only one. I've never been with a Latina.
So, time for the unveiling. The number one on both lists. I have...
Wait, we are?
Yeah. Deadpool was number 2. And then
okay.
you
Yeah,
did...
You're right.
Our...
Sea of Thieves was number 2. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, all right, cool. So this is the one that I'm basically basing on the amount of hours I put into this entire franchise. I have probably close to 5,000 hours into this entire franchise of games. There's only 2 games in the franchise at this point. So when it comes to, obviously, there's a lot of replayability to it. Obviously, there's a lot of fun to be had in it. It does have multiplayer. It does have single-run campaigns. It does have an infinite amount of building in it that you're able to revamp how you play, how you approach everything, how you build, depends on your abilities, depends on your ability to struggle with a particular campaign or to actually breeze through it like it didn't exist. And it's all in knowledge of how to do the systems of the game. It has a shitty new player entrance level. It's one of those games that's the biggest complaint I have is if you're a new player and you're getting into this game, they don't really explain anything to you. Which
it's Farming Simulator.
Huh?
It's Farming Simulator.
No. Like, the mechanics, you kind of either have to talk to people that play the game or you're just trial and erroring this shit for a long time because the mechanics are there, but they don't really explain to you how any of it works, and it's really the saddest part of the game. But the game I'm referring to that if I had to take on would be Destiny 2.
Okay.
I have played it through Destiny 1 into Destiny 2. I did drop it for about a year. I did play a few other games. Somehow, it always sucks you back in. And when it does, you know you're going to be sitting there at least several times a week, if not nightly, for some length of time, either doing your gunsmith bounties, trying to solo that dungeon, trying to solo that legendary or master lost sector, trying to find people to play with to do a raid, or you're hitting Crucible where you're just fighting other people online. And there's just a lot of different aspects to the game that can make it enjoyable. The community is kind of split. There's people that love it. There's people that hate it. Regardless, if they love it and they hate it and they're talking about it, they're on the game. And like any other multiplayer game, you're going to find a lot of douchebags in there, a lot of people who are trying to cheat it and mook around and everything else. I have met some super cool people through that game as well. I have been able to, teach some of the new lights that they call new players, call them new lights, how to work around and get a few things. I got a few people I play with consistently, and it's just one of those games that you can. It can be as much or as little as you want it to be. It can also be as frustrating or as fun as you want it to be. So, there's a whole Bungie community right now that loves and hates it, and regardless of what Bungie's doing, the game is still, in my opinion, still solid. Is it where it should be? No. Is it everything it can be? No. But it's still got the smoothest gunplay mechanics of almost any game I've ever played. And for a first-person shooter and the ability to do some of the cool stuff that I can do in it, and it's still a solid game for me. Like I said, I've logged in close to 5,000 hours on this game, and I've learned a lot of the ins and outs. And over a decade later, I'm still playing this game, and that's got to count for something.
Yeah.
When you're only playing the second rendition of a game, and it's been over a decade, and you still go back and you still love the game that it is, that counts for something. But just on a time base alone, that I know I would have to have in my arsenal just because of how much time I spend in it, I'm going back to Destiny 2.
Okay. All right. That's a very strong argument for your number one, so I completely get it. Mine's a little bit different. Mine is more nostalgia-based because there's been several renditions of this game, more recent, that are better as far as graphics, as far as playing, just across the board better. But this one specifically holds a place in my heart because it was the debut of my favorite character, Baraka.
Oh God, you're going
1993 Sega Genesis Mortal Kombat 2.
Wow, the
Yes.
pixelation is strong there, my man.
Yes, but Baraka is my all-time favorite Mortal Kombat character over Scorpion, over Sub-Zero, over all the normal cliche favorites. Baraka is my dude, and that was his debut. There's other characters on there also that were really fucking awesome.
He had like the Venom head with the really long blades on his arms, right?
Yeah.
See, I liked that, and I think that's honestly what got me into Blood Ring. So I remember as a kid, I had played. It must have been that Mortal Kombat or one right after it, and I saw that character, and it was really cool. And I always remember those blades in his arms. And then I saw Blood Rain sitting in a discount bin somewhere, and she had those blades. I'm like, oh, that looks like that one character I played in that fighting
So I
game.
just brought it back full circle.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So
nice.
I mean, you talk about nostalgia that brings things up, man. That's super cool, though.
Yeah, and all the fatalities they introduced what was called babalities in that movie not movie but the game where they turned the characters to babies. It was hilarious. there was just so much different stuff. Obviously the blood was ahead of its time. In '93 Sega, Mortal Kombat. You think blood? It's Mortal Kombat. Street Fighter wasn't doing that. Street Fighter was a fighting game, which was all right, but Mortal Kombat was right up my alley. I like death. I like gore, and Mortal Kombat 2 was it for me. Mortal Kombat 1 was awesome also, but like I said, 2 because of Baraka is why I chose it on my list. As far as playing wise, I don't play it anymore because I don't have a system that it works on, obviously. I think I do still have the cartridge though.
Do you PC play? Or
I have a gaming PC for my children, but I don't ever play, so it's probably on there.
Okay. You can get retro simulators for a computer and actually get those games again. Playing that on mouse and keyboard might be a little bit different for you, though.
It's worth a try. But I don't get to play very many video games. As I alluded to earlier, I have 2 days off, and my wife wants to play Sea of Thieves. So that's kind of the games that I play now are Sea of Thieves. And that's it. Now, if I could play Mortal Kombat 2, I probably still would.
Right.
But like I said, the graphics and everything on the newer ones are superior.
And that's one of those games that I'll have to agree with you. I think has gotten a lot better with time. By the time I started really, and it's not like I don't have a Mortal Kombat on my system at home. I mean, I've got 270 games sitting on my system at home, so it's not like Mortal Kombat's in there. Yeah. When it comes down to, I swear to God, when I went to make this list, I opened up my PlayStation library, and I started scrolling through, and my youngest daughter looked at me and went, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm trying to make a top 10 list of games," and she was like, "Just close it." I was like, "Yeah, you're right." And so I literally closed out the whole library on my PlayStation. Like, I need to think about this as far as in, if I was told I had an hour and I needed to grab, and everything I had was physical, what would be the 10 I would grab, you know? And my mind just started filling in those blanks at that point. Sure. But it was, Mortal Kombat did for gaming what ECW did for wrestling. Like, it brought a grittier, this is what you played as a kid. This is what you play now. Like, because it took the fighting games to a grittier, like, more crazy stance. And that's why we have things like Injustice, and we have things, you know, other games that started actually eventually emulating that in that aspect. Now the blood and the gore was never, you know, quite emulated across the board, unless you want to go down some Japanese game rabbit holes, and then you're going to find stuff that's actually worse.
Yeah, right.
But Mortal Kombat,
them crazy Japanese people.
One of the you have no idea. A couple of the games and the mechanics is kind of what helped build a lot of other fighting games up to that point, because they smoothed out the mechanics of Street Fighter, which was a standard for years, in my opinion. And then, in my opinion, Tekken smoothed out what they both started, which is why I always stuck with Tekken. Yeah. But Mortal Kombat it's a solid game, man. I really can't fault that on being on anyone's top 10 list, or even as high as you have it put. I just don't know if I could spend hours on that. Yeah. And I say that in regards to fighting games, because as much as I love Tekken Tag Tournament, that's a solid 4 hours for me, and I'm setting it back somewhere for at least a couple of weeks before I go to pull that out again. Because that fighting games for me are the easiest ones to get burnt out on, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, there's a multitude of characters and you just switch, but I can see.
There is, but even when I played competitively for a little while on Tekken, I practiced strictly because I was going to a tournament. It very quickly after a while became not fun for me.
Gotcha.
Whereas with other games that I haven't had to play competitively, but I played competitively within the game because I have competitive modes. Yeah. I never lost quite that this is work. I never got into a this is work, where with Tekken it really kind of became more of a work scenario. It was, and in my opinion on that is when you look at it, if you're breaking down frame rates for what punch is that 16th of a frame rate faster,
Yeah.
it has stopped becoming fun.
Right. Yeah.
It has stopped becoming fun.
Yeah.
I should not need to sit there and go, he's starting with a drop back 3-3-4, so I need to start with a. You should not know combinations of a game like that. I mean, if you're competitive playing, you need to. You have to. That's how it breaks down. But when winning a game comes down to frame rate, like in my opinion, that's when it's probably stopped. For me, that's when it stopped being fun.
That sounds like it would be. Yeah. When I just, as far as hours go, now no, a fighting game wouldn't be in. I would be like you. I could play it for a little while, and all right, I'm moving on to the next thing. But when I was a kid, I had a Sega Genesis. Mm-hmm. The games were Twisted Metal, Mortal Kombat, and then sports games like Madden or whatever. Me and my brother, my half brother, different mom, he would come over. We'd be playing Twisted Metal, Mortal Kombat, and that's all we would do for fucking 2-3 days straight. So I had the hours in it when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Now, not so much, but.
Hey, I mean, it's all good, man. It's a solid list either way. Solid. I think either way that. If people didn't find something they agreed with on your list or my list, then I don't know. Make your own list and send it in. I'll read it. I mean, I may not put it on the podcast, but I'll read it.
On that note, though, before we go, last Marry Fuck Kill, or at least from me. If you want to give another one, you can. Yeah. From Mortal Kombat.
Oh God.
Melina. Okay. Do you know which one Melina is?
Yep.
From Street Fighter. Chun-Li. Mm-hmm. And then whatever your favorite chick is from Tekken.
Ooh.
I can't remember the Tekken characters' names other than King, to be honest. I played the game, but King was my dude, so.
If you're going to go Tekken, you're going to have to go almost nostalgic in that aspect, so I'm probably going to throw Nina in that mix from Tekken. She was one of the original badass girls from Tekken. She still runs through, Nina Williams from Tekken.
You got the last name.
Yeah, so you have Nina Williams, and you had her sister that was in the game as well. So it was Nina and Anna Williams. Nina actually got her own spin-off game called Death by Degrees, which is now turned into that whole hamster hole we're going down at this point. But oh man, I'm gonna kill Melina. That bitch scares me. I'm just no. No. I'm gonna stay away from fucking the demon possessed bitch. She's scary as hell. So I'm gonna get a priest and a bottle of holy water, and we're putting that bitch back in hell. Okay. I don't know. Is it a wooden stake, a silver bullet? What actually kills this? Like, good Lord. Anyway, and now that leaves 2 other chicks that could kill me so easily. So fucking easily. The one that scares me more is Nina, so I'll fuck her.
Okay.
If she'll let me, and I'm going to say please. Because she got her own spin-off game where every time you kicked or grabbed someone in a hold and broken arm, it zoomed in X-ray and you watched the bone break. It was a really cool game. It should have made the list, but it didn't. Look it up. Death by Degrees. Wasn't a great play, but the X-ray bone breaking everywhere was what was cool. And I guess I want to marry Chun-Li.
Okay.
And it fulfills the Asian thing on.
That's what I was. That's kind of what I was thinking.
I mean, and who doesn't like the big boobs, thick thighs, kind of cool Asian girl, right?
Yeah. So I got it on here, so I can explain to you. Melina would actually be the marry or the fuck for me if I didn't know it was underneath the mask. But underneath the mask, she's basically Baraka. And I ain't fucking with that shit.
Oh, God.
So, Melina...
That's the Dick Shredder 4000.
Exactly. Melina
Holy
is
hell.
definitely going to be killed, unfortunately, because it's a Mortal Kombat character. But I'm killing Melina.
You better fatality, animality, everything that, because that doesn't look like it's going to stay dead. I'm not even lying.
I'm fucking...
Babality, however the hell you...
I'm fucking Nina. Right? Nina is her name?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm fucking her. She looks like a good fuck, I guess.
She'd be fun once, right?
And then for the same reason, I mean, I've been with an Asian girl, but for the same reason, I'm marrying Chun-Li. She's Asian, why not?
Yeah. So, well, hey, that one actually lined up pretty much across the board.
Yeah.
There was no variance on that one. That's cool. Yeah. That's cool. So, all right, I think that's going to wrap this one up. I don't know what's going to happen for the next one, but we'll figure that out.
It will be 10 things, and it will be inappropriate.
I'm not sure the topics of the last two were necessarily inappropriate, but
No, the podcast itself, though.
I think there's been inappropriate comments made enough. I mean, definitely not something we could say at work. I mean, I don't know if it's when the other bosses are gone. I don't think it's ever stopped us, but let's be honest. So. All right, folks, so until next time, I'm Matthew.
No, I'm Nathan.
And we're here reminding you to be yourself, as everyone else is taken.